What's good, YouTube? It's Tristan with T-Laws Fitness, and today we're going to take a quick look at the Arnold Classic. Now, Cedric and Kai both did the usual Arnold Classic in Ohio, and then they did the Australia, and then they did one other one. I forgot where the third one was. But Kai Greene has ended up winning all three. Now, these two guys were clearly the best out of the whole group. And their posing routines were both awesome. Both very different. Cedric's, as you're going to see now, is more of the classical types of poses. Whereas Kai, I mean, his is just completely different. It's still awesome. It's not the classic type, but his posing is like nothing I've ever seen before. He's very agile for how big he is. But one thing I want to say is I apologize about the video quality. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some links in the description to show you some of the better quality videos showing you these guys' poses. But just take a look at this. Cedric looks fantastic, in my opinion. If I had to pick any of the modern day bodybuilders that I would want to look like, Cedric is probably my number one. I think he's the closest to what Arnold's build was like back in the day. As far as not being crazy granity like, what's that ugly guy's name? Ranch Warren. I mean, I know the judges give him points all the time for being so grainy, but honestly, that's kind of an ugly look to me. I don't really like it when someone is overly conditioned like that. I feel like Cedric's that good balance between having good conditioning and still having full muscle bellies, but not being too grainy, not looking like Branch, where everything is just popping out. Looks too ridiculous. But his posing routine is on point. 100% on point. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better classical poser. I mean, if you stuck him back in the 60s and 70s with those guys, it'd be perfect. Look at this. Boom! That looks just like Arnold's pose. I mean, you can't really beat that. So he did a good job. So here coming up, you're going to see Kai Greene's posing. And as I said, there's better videos of this. And I'll put the link in the description so you can see it. But his posing it's also on point. And I believe that this year in the Arnold is where they've decided to actually give the guys points for their posing routines. So obviously Cedric's going to have a great posing routine. Kai's got a great posing routine, so they were both marked really high for that, even though their posing was so vastly different, which I think is why it's kind of hard to compare. Now Kai is being dinged for having a gut that sticks out. And if you can see right here, it still looks like it sticks out a little bit. I mean, he's kind of got it in check. And I think with the rest of his body parts being so big, you notice it a lot less. And his legs are giant, but if you look, his stomach still does protrude. So I don't know what that is. I've heard guys say that it's from GH and insulin. I've heard them say all kinds of stuff as far as why their stomachs stick out. But to be honest with you, he still looks good. And when he does all of these rear poses, I kind of expect his stomach to stick out a little bit because they lean so far back and then they end up sticking their stomach out. But that being said, Cedric's stomach doesn't stick out at all. Completely in check. So the one thing I will say about Kai's physique is his legs are absolutely ridiculous. They're huge. I don't think there's anybody who's going to be in the Olympia that has legs as big and as conditioned. I know Big Ramey's legs are very big, but when you compare him side by side with Kai, he is never as conditioned as what Kai Greene is. So Kai is looking awesome. Do I think that Kai can beat Phil Heath? No, probably not. But he still looks good. So here's the comparison, the two finalists. It all depends on what kind of physique you like the best. I think Kai wins in that front double bicep just because his biceps are so peaky. They're like crazy peaky, but when it comes to the front lat spread, I think that Cedric beats him in a lot of these poses, but the judges seem to give Kai more points because his legs are so conditioned and his legs are so thick. Now, in my opinion, when they say, hey, do a side chest, you shouldn't be judging them on the legs at that point anyway, because you told them to do a side chest, so really you're looking at their arms and the chest. In this pose, I mean, look at this. Cedric's tall and he's got great definition. I think his back looks better than Kai's. The shape of it looks better. But once again, Kai's hamstrings are so much bigger and more conditioned than Cedric's. I feel like they give him extra points because of that when they do all of these back shots. So in my opinion, I do think that Kai deserved to win this one. Do I think he deserved to win all three Arnolds and Cedric comes second? I don't know. It's debatable. It comes down to what kind of physique do you prefer. And you know there's a lot of political correctness and stuff like that in the Arnold. So last year, even when Cedric was looking awesome, he placed 4th in the Olympia, which is what led to the controversy of Arnold Schwarzenegger saying we need to start judging these guys down who have all these giant guts that are hanging out. That's the reason why Kai has come with his stomach in check this time. But the real test is going to be how high will Cedric rank in the Olympia. He was sick last year, but will he rank high like he is in these Arnolds? My prediction is, put it on record, that Phil Heath is still going to win the Olympia and he's going to be 6-time Mr. Olympia. There you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the links in the description. That way you can see the better quality videos of their posing routines. Comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.